What is going on, guys? In this video, we're talking about the 10 biggest surprises I saw in movie theaters this year. If you've never seen me before, my name is Sean. I talk movies all the time on this channel. I do end of year rankings like this all the time as well. So if you want to see a worst of list, best of list, like, comment, subscribe, join the channel down below. I'd love for you to stick around and talk movies with you. So I saw almost 100 new releases in theaters this year, but these are the 10 that stuck out to me as the biggest surprise films that exceeded my expectations. I walked in, didn't think a whole lot. I left pleasantly surprised. Coming in at number 10 is going to be Chris Stuckman's Shelby Oaks. Now, I know the controversies going on online. A lot of people are hating on this guy because of his review channel, how he changed up his opinions and how he no longer critiques films. I get all of that. But for me, I never took it personally because I feel like he was out front. He said what he wanted to do, his intentions, his goals, his aspirations of being a director, and he's achieved them. So I think the whole story is oddly inspirational, pretty cool. I was so surprised by how much I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was crazy immersive, and I thought the filming of it, the way it looked, the style, was really, really cool. Now, I totally get if you watch the film, you think the story's kind of weak. I do think he needs to brush up on his writing a little bit. He needs to kind of really delve into the trenches and figure out what his style is and kind of wrap up the script a little bit more, because this movie is kind of surface level when it comes to a story, kind of a hodgepodge blend of all of the best hits he probably liked. But as a fan of mockumentaries, I still found this movie engaging. I did still find the mystery compelling, and I love the way it was made. I think the movie is a gorgeous looking film, technically great, the way it is shot, the sound effects, the setup of it, the scares. I think all of it is very atmospheric. For a first time project and, being a YouTuber movie and everybody kind of wanting to shit on it beforehand, I think it was a pretty well done movie, and I enjoyed it, and I would definitely watch it again. Good time. Now, coming in at number 9 is the Netflix original that took the world by storm for what feels like all of summer. That is K-Pop Demon Hunters. I love this film. I think it was so creative. You have this K-pop battle going on between a girl band named Huntrix and the Saja Boys that is a demon boy band. Sounds ridiculous. It is, but it's a ton of fun. And if you have kids, you probably know this by now because it feels like every kid in the country has watched this movie 25 times. This movie's soundtrack was so catchy. It was the first movie ever, I believe, to have 5 songs in the global top 10 at the same time. I was so surprised by how impactful this story is, how much the story resonated with me. And I think just about everybody, kids to adults, will find something in this movie they can latch on to. It's a movie I believe the whole family can enjoy, catchy music, a movie you can constantly come back to, and a movie that has more than just animation going to it. It has heart to it, has some lessons to convey to kids, especially those who are younger growing up. Just a movie I am very glad did well because it is one of the more original Western animated films, and just a movie I believe will set the record for what could possibly come down the road with more creative spin-off standalone animated films instead of making The Incredibles 9. At number 8, we have Weapons, the horror movie that took the world by storm, and on review, I was not really a fan of this film. It was okay. I am a Barbarian fanboy. You follow the channel, you'd know that already. This was my most anticipated movie times 100. I starved myself of the trailers. I didn't watch any of the teasers. I heard from the director this was 10 times crazier than Barbarian. So I was sitting there giddy for like 3 months for this film. And when I saw the movie eventually, I thought the movie was broken up in a very weird way. It's told through the narrative of different characters' perspectives. I feel like it completely smashed the tone of what was going on in the first half. For better or worse. I know a lot of people like the middle half of it a lot more than me, but this movie is on the list because I was surprised by how different this movie was than my expectations. I heard, the general idea of what the movie was possibly about, the kids going missing, but the way this movie is structured, the way the narrative is told, the way the different characters act, how goofy and comedic it was. Now, when I watched the movie, I think Julia Garner's scenes and Josh Brolin's sections are masterpieces. I think they are terror. I think they're suspenseful. I think the intrigue of what could possibly be going on with these kids is near perfection. I was ready to say best movie of the year. I'm rewatching it with friends and family. I think the movie is better than I thought it was the first time, so I will own up to my mistake or my judgment on that, but I'm still surprised how different this movie was. I think it's a very weird movie if you know nothing about it. Not going to spoil it in this video. I've done reviews. You want to check those out. But it's a movie you should definitely check out, especially if you love Barbarian, you love weird horror movies, movies that take chances. Still worth supporting because it's one of the most original movies of the year, and I will always champion that. At number 7, one of the most random movies I watched this year was The Jester 2 for a limited release around Halloween. If you're unfamiliar, The Jester is a very low-budget horror franchise that is based on a short film that took YouTube by storm about a decade ago, I believe. This is the second installment in the franchise. There was a movie called The Jester like 5-6 years ago, I think, and it was awful. Like I said in my review, thought that movie was terrible. I could barely finish it. It wasn't funny, wasn't creative. very low budget. I was like, yeah, this franchise ain't for me. But I saw the Jester 2 at an early mystery screening for Halloween time, and it reminded me so much of Terrifier 2. The way they took kind of a proof of concept villain with Art the Clown in the original Terrifier. In this one, you have the Jester. Now you have the Jester 2, and they just did everything I wanted in a sequel. The movie is bigger, it's bolder, it's more creative. They're having a lot more fun with the Jester, this guy who's kind of interacting with people, killing them as a magician. And I thought the interaction of the final girl with the Jester and the narrative moving this story of how he has to trick people every All Hallows Eve surprised the hell out of me. This was one of the most fun movies I watched in theaters and really reminded me why I love and I champion low budget horror so much. I really hope we get a third movie of this. So if you have never heard of The Jester, I don't necessarily recommend the first film. They are standalone films, and I don't have a whole lot of positives to say about that. I love Halloween feeling movies. Check out The Jester 2. It was so much fun. At number 6, we have one of the weirdest films of the year. That is The Home, starring Pete Davidson. A lot of people hated this film. It didn't work at all. And it is kind of slow getting to the end of the movie, but this movie had one of the most insane third acts I have seen since I started this channel. I love a weird horror movie that takes chances, and this movie, while it does feel kind of generic leading up to about the halfway point reveal, gets to be so insane bonkers. I would recommend this movie to anybody that likes movies that take chances. This movie is on the list because it surprised me how much I enjoyed a film with Pete Davidson being the lead in a modern day horror film. I did not have that on my bingo card, but sign the guy up. I think he's pretty good in the genre. I don't hate the guy as much as other people on the internet, but Bodies, Bodies, Bodies was pretty forgettable, and I don't find him very funny. And I thought I had my finger on the pulse of this film. It starts off, it's very weird. You have this guy working at the retirement home. He's trying to pay off a debt or probation or something. I don't exactly remember, but as he's there, he thinks something crazy is going on with the older people. And as the movie goes along, you start to get little nuggets of what this movie is about and what's actually going on at this home and what's going on with the older citizens. And there's a reveal at the halfway point I had no idea about. This movie caught me so off guard. I'm pretty good at figuring out what movies do, and I would have never guessed what this movie does. And while it might be stupid or not work for some people, I thought it was so damn creative, and I thought the third act of this movie straight up turns into Terrifier. It's a bloodbath, and I just love the tonal whiplash this movie gave me. So if you've never heard of The Home, a lot of people in my comment sections really love this thing. They were saying this was like an awesome twist. They had a great time with it, but all of the other reviewers and critics seem to have panned this thing. They hate it. But if you like movies that feel like early 2000s thrillers, movies that take massive swings, weird horror films that you're probably never going to see the answer to coming, check out The Home starring Pete Davidson. It's a lot better than you think, and even if you hate the guy, he's not that bad in it, trust me. At number 5, we have the most recent Stephen King adaptation, The Life of Chuck, a movie that didn't seem very interesting to me when it was teased. The poster didn't do a whole lot to me, and it just felt like a generic coming-of-age life story. And I am just such a skeptic when it comes to early reviews because I have been burned so many times. It's part of the reason I started this channel, because I felt like every time I got an early review or I listened to the critics, I never agreed. So going into this, I expected a pretty generic, like Stand By Me type of film. This movie is so powerful. It's profound. It's heartfelt. Oddly enough, I'd say this movie was kind of comforting to me. I feel like this movie made me content with life, like the journey of life and death and what it means, who we interact with, what our purposes are, how we engage with other people, relationships. It was just a very touching film. Check out Life of Chuck. It's a lot better than the poster and, the synopsis sounds like. It sounds super generic, but trust me, it's very, very well done. Coming in at number 4 is one of the most badass action films of the year. That would be Predator: Badlands. It's not the same as other Predators. In this one, the Predator is the hero, kind of. You're following this kind of down on his luck loser version of the Predator as he goes to this sinister planet and has to hunt the most dangerous creature imaginable to get the respect of his clan. Now, I don't want the Predator franchise to take this the wrong way and just keep doing this, but for this movie, the way he looks, the way this story is told, it works so well to have the villain be the lead and have us kind of follow along as a fly in the wall as this guy evolves and upgrades and learns the tactics of these monsters. The movie played out like a giant video game. If you're a fan of like Monster Hunter World, like Elden Ring, then this movie is probably for you. Because this movie is balls to the wall action. It's badass. Within 5 minutes of the movie, it's nearly a 2-hour movie. It's straight into the action and it never lets up for more than 5 minutes. It's by the same director of Prey, a movie I really enjoyed. I think this movie is significantly better than Prey. That being said, I would still give Dan Trachtenberg the keys to do whatever he wants with the Predator franchise, because this is 2 bangers in a row this guy has given me that I walked into with no expectations. And I walked out saying, damn, that is definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. So if you've avoided seeing this film because the trailer didn't sell you like me, hence it's on this list, or you heard the early reviews that this was just like some comic book version of a Disney movie, do not believe them and give this movie a chance. This movie was awesome. I believe it was in my top 5. Coming in at number 3, one of the most bizarre movies on this list, that is Good Boy, the dog horror movie. If you're unfamiliar, in this movie, the dog is the main character. It's a haunted house story about a dog and his dying owner, except the entire movie is told through the perspective and POV of the dog. Now, the entire thing doesn't latch on to him like found footage, but everything about the movie is pushed narratively through the main character, Indy, the dog we follow. Now, stick with me. It sounds weird, but you have Indy, this dog, and in the background, you have characters talking and moving this plot along, his human owner and his friends, while you have this dog that's battling demons of this household while his owner is getting sick, and it's like a haunted house movie told through the perspective of the dog. Now, this movie is on here for numerous reasons. I love animals. I have a tattoo of my pup, and I just was so attached to this character. I was like broken by this movie at points. I love animals so much, almost more than humans at points, and I just thought this movie was so unique. Not the most like high budget or anything, it's only like 70 minutes as well, but it was so creatively done and so powerful to me as a pet owner that I think anybody who loves pets will probably be holding back tears by the end of this thing. I said in my review as well, Indy, the main dog in this, I have no idea how he acted in this. The dog is like legitimately acting. It looks like he's scared, he's surprised. It took like 5 years to make this movie because of the trial and error to get this dog to do what they wanted. This dog deserved an Oscar. Unironically, I have never been convinced of a dog who could understand English or somebody who could read a script. If you told me this dog had like superpowers and it could read, I would have believed you because it is acting. It's wild. And what this movie actually is more than a haunted house tale is it's kind of a haunted house tale metaphorically, but it's told from the dog's perspective, exploring what a dog experiences, how their world shapes when their owner is dying and that grieving process and what it's like. We understand what it's like to grieve animals. We've never really explored or understood their perspective when they realize something is wrong, wanting to be a good boy, hence the name of the movie, and they're trying to kind of save their owner from the demons of death. Trust me, I promise it will be one of the strangest but most powerful movies you see this year. Good Boy, I loved it. Coming in at number 2 is the most suspenseful movie I saw this year. That is Last Breath, starring Simu Liu and Woody Harrelson. The movie is called Last Breath, based on the documentary of the same name, Last Breath, and it follows a crew of 3, I believe off the coast of Sweden, guys who work on the bottom of the ocean, repair wires, internet cables, all of that type of stuff. Stuff that everyday people like me and you take for granted. Watching this movie, it is the most suspenseful movie I saw this year. I was holding my breath. I was anxious. I thought I was going to have an ulcer watching this film. I could not believe this was a true story. And this guy's gear breaks. His cable snaps. He falls all the way to the bottom of the ocean. And he's stranded at the bottom of the ocean with nothing but 10 minutes of air. Super inspiring humanitarian story of everybody on this ship and the crews working together to save this guy. It was just wild. I cannot believe how engaged I was with this film. The sound effects, the way it looks. This movie is filmed so awesome, by the way. They have actual underwater crews that film this. So all of the camera work and everything is like legit on the bottom of the ocean. It's so clear. It's so clean. It's awesome. And this is the movie. If you want a heart-pounding film, you want to be surprised like I was. You want to watch a film where you would never expect a movie that looked like it was going to be straight to VOD starring Woody Harrelson, Last Breath. On a movie that's going to make your hair stand up, give you some anxiety, the suspenseful thriller of the year with no expectations. Made my top 10. This movie was absurd how much I love this movie. But coming in at number 1, by far the biggest surprise of this year, and it wasn't even particularly close when I looked back, that is Better Man, the CGI monkey musical. If you know anything about me, you know a couple of things. Not a huge fan of musicals, although they are kind of growing on me, I will admit. The movie's about a guy named Robbie Williams, a British pop star. No idea who the guy was. I actually thought it said Robin Williams, the guy who passed away, unfortunately. And the whole movie is told with him being a CGI monkey, like the Planet of the Apes movies. So you're watching a British pop star, I don't know, as a CGI monkey in a musical. It was a guaranteed whiff for me until it wasn't. I saw this movie at a mystery screening and I am very glad I did. I did not expect to like this film. I wasn't going to see it because I think just about everybody was in the same court as me. They're like, what are we doing? Like, why would I go pay and see that? But I watched the movie and it is fantastic. It's one of the best biopics ever made. The guy's life is crazy. Like this guy from a young age all the way through adulthood, the stuff he's going through, it's oddly vulnerable. It's not like a normal biopic that cuts out all of the bad graphic details. It feels like a movie that was unfiltered. You get all of his best, all of his worst. The music is catchy. The monkey thing oddly grows on you because if he wasn't a monkey, you'd probably just think the guy was a dick. And this movie is the number 1 on the list by far because out of all of the movies I saw, this would have been the sure-in I would have told you gets my bottom rating. And I walked away saying that's pushing top 10. It was that good. So if you're somebody who avoided this film because you just thought the concepts I'm explaining are absolutely absurd, you would never like any of these things, and you pair them all together, you're like, what is this, torture? Trust me when I say it is very good. And if you followed other reviewers, they're probably saying the same thing. You think it's a giant skeptical shill job. It's not. It's just that good. So there you have it, guys. That's my top 10 surprises of the year. Be sure to join the channel. You want to watch any of my other end of year rankings. In a couple of days, I'll have coming out the end of year ranking with all of the movies I've seen and all of the horror movies I've seen. So be sure to check that out. You want to see any of those. Like, comment, subscribe, hype the video. I will see you in the next video. Peace.